So we have here article, the Better Meat Company slashes its cost of mycoprotein production via continuous process. Elaine Watson, June 11th, 2024. Alt meat startup, the Better Meat Company, has slashed production cost for its fungi biomass fermentation technology by moving to a continuous process such that, at scale, even with no further research and development advancements, its mycoprotein is projected to compete on cost with commodity beef. Many firms in the space run semi-continuous process. Co-founder Paul Shapiro told AgFunderNews, however, a continuous process in which feedstock is added and products are harvested continuously is a different animal altogether. He added, you are harvesting every single second, which is the holy grail for fermentation because it opens up dramatically greater efficiencies. To our knowledge, nobody aside from Quorn is doing continuous biomass fermentation in the mycoprotein space. Sacramento-based The Better Meat Company started out by providing plant-based meat enhancers, which it still supplies to Purdue Farms for its chicken plus hybrid meat veggie range, but later switched its focus to fungi. It has since run 100 plus harvests from a 9,000 liter bioreactor, including producing Rhiza, R-H-I-Z-A mycoprotein, which can be used as single ingredient alt meat, said Shapiro. The Better Meat Company has proven its ability to run in batch, semi-continuous, and continuous fermentation modes at our demo scale plant. In the last year alone, our continuous R&D has enabled us to slash feedstock costs while producing a higher quantity of mycelium, enabling a total at-scale cost reduction of more than 30%. Combining this work with advancements in strain selection, breeding, and innovative fermentation methods, we can now produce 68% more mycelium in the same time and with lower total feedstock costs compared to 1 year ago. LOIs and offtake agreements for 33 tons dry mycoprotein per month, 99 tons when hydrated. The company has numerous paid collaborations with our joint development partnership, said Shapiro. We also sell Rhiza mycoprotein in NorCal restaurants in the form of steaks, carne asada, and foie gras. The Better Meat Company has multiple signed letters of intent and offtake agreements currently representing demand for 33 tons of dry mycoprotein per month, the equivalent of 99 tons when hydrated, from our joint development agreement partners. However, the startup, which has been embroiled in a lengthy legal dispute with fellow biomass fermentation startup Meaty Foods over intellectual property, is unable to commercially supply major CPG brands until we scale up, added Shapiro, who has raised $27 million to date but needs a further influx of capital to manufacture Rhiza at meaningful scale. He added the agreements are from some of the biggest CPG brands on the planet in the US and in Asia. Asked how the company generates revenue at the moment, he said, many small food tech companies give away their products to big food companies to get them to try them. We have joint development agreements where companies pay us to gain sample materials from our demo scale plant. So they are paying us monthly fees for, say, 25 or 50 kilos a month so they can develop products with our mycelium. So by the time we are scaled up, they already have their product development done. These arrangements have in turn led to offtake agreements. Yes, so we've been sampling Rhiza mycoprotein as a single ingredient, animal-free protein option and find that it's in a league of its own when it comes to taste, texture, and nutrition. When this ingredient is commercially available at larger scale, we hope to put it in our menus. Monty Stagg, CEO, as SFE, K-12 food service provider, providing 180 million meals daily. No fraction, no isolation, and no extrusion. With a fibrous, meaty texture that does not require any significant downstream processing or extrusion, Rhiza is a non-GMO, whole food, fermented ingredient made from Neurospora fungi species such as Neurospora Crassa, said Shapiro, who describes the product as much meatier than Quorn, which uses a strain of Fusarium Venenatum. By contrast, plant-based meat alternatives are less efficient, relying on a lengthy growing cycle, fraction to get at the protein, followed by a pricey extrusion process to texturize it, he said. What we do is produce a whole food through fermentation, with no fractionation, no isolation, and no extrusion, he added. Two of the biggest problems facing the alternative meat industry are taste and price, and Rhiza mycoprotein has an answer to both of these. The texture is dramatically better than extruded plant proteins and other mycelium products, and we're getting to a place where we could compete on cost with commodity beef at scale. 45% to 50% protein by dry weight, PDCAAS 0.87 to 0.96. According to GRAS, generally recognized as safe, notice from the company filed with the FDA in late 2022, Rhiza mycoprotein contains 45% to 50% crude protein by dry weight with a protein digestibility PDCAAS score of 0.87 to 0.96, which is close to animal proteins such as casein and egg. At harvest, the fermentation cell slurry is dewatered to a moist cake format, then diced to a particle size of 5 up to 55 millimeters. The mycelium dices are then dehydrated until under controlled conditions to create a product that can be shipped at ambient temperatures and rehydrated at customers' facilities, said Shapiro. The Better Meat Company's Neurospora strains have been successfully tested on multiple feedstocks from brewers' spent grains to potato peelings. It is not wedded to any of those, said Shapiro. It's definitely simpler to use DE95, and so while we have successfully run a variety of feedstocks, it will be a case of going down the path of least resistance when it comes to scaling up. Biomass fermentation. The Better Meat Company is one of a flurry of players in the so-called biomass fermentation space, whereby microbes grown in sugary water in large steel bioreactors are the end product, in contrast to precision fermentation, where microbes are used as tiny factories that produce high-value ingredients such as enzymes. Other companies growing fungi via biomass fermentation include industry pioneer Quorn, Enough Foods in the Netherlands, Ennifer in Finland, Infinite Roots and Nosh.bio in Germany, Nature's Find and Meaty Foods in the US, Mycotechnology in Oman, MycoSure in South Africa, and Maya Farms in Canada. These are complemented by players such as MyForest and Mush Foods, which are growing fungi via solid-state fermentation on trays without bioreactors. Some of the above are focused on meat alternatives, while others are spreading their bets by targeting a broader range of application areas from cheese, yogurts, and baked goods to pet food. End of article. So this article is actually quite interesting in the fact that it does a very, very good job of explaining the various branches of alternative meats, and it does a good job of explaining a lot of the sort of technical processes that are involved, because there is certainly a lot of nuance, and for the people that are experts in this industry, there's a huge, huge difference with some of the ways that the end result, the end products are being created. So this article is right to the point when it's talking about, so there's mycoprotein, there's a process called semi-continuous process, and then this company, which is the Better Meat Company, says they're doing it at a continuous process. And then it's also talking about the types of mycoprotein which are being used, and so they call it Rhiza, and it says Neurospora fungi known as Neurospora Crassa, and then their competitor Quorn uses Fusarium Venenatum, and then finally it talks about the actual business model. So it says in the article here, by contrast, plant-based meat alternatives are less efficient, relying on a lengthy growing cycle, fractionation to get at the protein, and then followed by price extrusion process to texturize it. So for Mr. Shapiro's company, they produce a whole food through fermentation, and it requires no fractionation, no isolation, and no extrusion. So for the business overall, it must be major efficiencies for costs. And then he finishes up in this response to the author of this article. Two of the biggest problems facing the alternative meat industry are taste and price, and Rhiza mycoprotein has an answer to both of these. The texture is dramatically better than extruded plant proteins and other mycelium products, and we are getting to a place where we could compete on cost with commodity beef at scale. So that seems to be where a lot of the efficiencies are coming together. So, and then finally it says the mycelium dices are dehydrated under controlled conditions to create a product that can be shipped at ambient temperatures and rehydrated at customers' facilities. So the article does a great job of talking about efficiencies, the processes, steps of the processes that are completely either leapfrogged or bypassed altogether because there's better efficiencies with their creation process of their end product, and then how they're trying to create their revenue about certain facilities trying to get their samples, because you have to bridge that gap between if you haven't reached scale as is what everybody in this industry knows, then you're not going to be able to truly run a profit if you're not yet reached scale. So in order to bridge that gap, they have to put what we call points on the board. They have to have some sort of singles and doubles if they're not hitting home runs, if you will. This article does a great job of explaining who they're signing partnerships agreements with or delivery agreements, or it says they are paying 25 kilos or 50 kilos a month to develop products so that by the time they will be scaled up, they will have product development being done. Yeah, and then these arrangements have in turn led to offtake agreements. So that's the course that they are charting, the path they are taking. Very well written article, very informative, very interesting to understand, and it's quite an educational article because it really covers a lot of the details, and specifically some of the competitors' details. And at the bottom of the article does a great job of talking about other industry pioneers and which country they're from. So it really, for those looking to do a side-by-side comparison, it lists really 5, 6, 7, 8 players, what their name is, where they're working, and which industry, if they're doing full-on biomass fermentation, or perhaps something similar or a little bit different with fungi as a medium. So with that being said, great article, informative article, and it also talks about the business sense of how this company and the Mr. Shapiro for the Better Meat Company intends to currently achieve revenue and then ideally at scale be a profitable endeavor. It's a very interesting article overall.